You're watching DEFUNCTCRAN, taking a deep dive into all things Cranny Cola. Before we get started, I'd just like to address something right off the bat. I know my review of Cranny Cola Scalding Hot has been met with a lot of criticism. A lot of people said it was too political, and I'd just like to apologize to anyone I may have offended, though I stand by my rating of 10 out of 10. I'd also like to apologize to Jimmy, who is currently hospitalized and being treated for third-degree burns, but is expected to make a full recovery. Take care, Jimmy. We're all rooting for you. If you'd like to help Jimmy and his family out, there is a link in the description. We all drink it. That deliciously crisp and refreshing beverage known as cola. For centuries, cola has been the popular drink of choice. Famous playwright William Shakespeare once wrote, "Morning, afternoon, and night, cola is always a delight." And that was written over 100 years ago, and not much has changed by way of the public opinion on the beverage. But do you know of the many ways cola affects our health, body, and mind? Have you even heard of the 4 colas? And did you know they may be inside of you right now, pulsing through your very veins? And if you're not feeling too hot, that could be a sign of a cola imbalance, and you may need to partake in an ancient practice known as cola letting. Let's crack open a cold one and get down to the facts. This is everything you need to know about the 4 colas theory. Quattro colas, which literally translates to 4 colas, is the now defunct medical terminology once used by doctors and philosopher scientists when referring to the 4 colas theory of medicine. It was once the prevailing theory of its time and stayed that way for thousands of years. The earliest known written history of the 4 colas theory technically wasn't written at all. At least not how we think of writing today. It was recorded on a quipu, an ancient Inca device for recording information, consisting of variously colored threads knotted in different ways. It was deciphered by a group of anthropologists at SAI, and this is what it said. The human body contains brown cola, diet cola, white cola, and yellow cola. These are the colas that make up its constitution and cause its pains and health. Health is primarily that state in which these constituent colas are in the correct proportion to each other, both in strength and quantity, and are well mixed. Pain occurs when one of the colas presents either a deficiency or an excess, or is separated in the body and not mixed with the others. The body depends heavily on the 4 colas because their balanced combination helps to keep people in good health. Having the right amount of cola is essential for health. The pathophysiology of disease is consequently brought on by cola excesses and/or deficiencies. Let's break down those 4 colas. The primary cola is known as brown. This cola is normally associated with the brain. The more brown cola a person drinks, the smarter they're said to be. A person with an excess of brown cola is sometimes referred to as a browniac. Brown cola was also associated with a sanguine nature. Those who drank it were normally enthusiastic, active, and social. Albert Einstein comes to mind with his crazy yet intelligent ass. If you drink a lot of brown cola, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe for more cola content. Diet cola is centralized in the heart. It is associated with a more melancholic nature. It was thought that depression was caused by an excess of diet cola secreted by the spleen. Author Sylvia Plath famously drank gallons of Diet Cola while writing her semi-autobiographical novel, The Bell Jar, which tells the story of 19-year-old Esther Greenwood struggling with anxiety and depression, who finds happiness in a can of Diet Cola. White cola, sometimes referred to as clear cola, was associated with reserved behavior. People who drink it are shy and weird and often don't fit into society and are freaks. Yellow cola, sometimes known as green cola, was associated with a choleric nature. Those who drank it were known to be ambitious, decisive, aggressive, and short-tempered. Yellow cola was thought to be concentrated in the kidneys. Kidney stones were seen as a sign of a healthy yellow balance in the kidneys. People would often keep their kidney stones encased in jewelry as a token of good fortune and good health. A modern example of this is billionaire Elon Musk, who, as of recording this video, has 27 kidney stones saved in jars that he keeps around his home. All of this information, and the Four Colas theory itself, was almost completely lost to time were it not for an English doctor named Dr. Herc Leichenthorpe, whose contributions to the medical field and history have been sadly mostly overshadowed by the fact that he was an actual werewolf, and was found to have murdered and eaten at least 14 victims and likely many more. Dr. Leichenthorpe was instrumental in deciphering ancient documents and contextualizing the information for modern audiences. He became so invested in uncovering information regarding the Four Colas that he even began studying it as a de facto science, and for a brief period brought it back as a practice among doctors working outside of the mainstream medical circuit. But when he was found one foggy morning on the English coastline naked and surrounded by fresh human remains, his successes quickly came to a halt, and the Four Colas once again faded into obscurity, albeit the information was saved by historians working out of the Hugo Institute. One of the more interesting practices related to the Four Colas theory was a procedure known as cola letting. Cola letting was a treatment used to rebalance a person who had an overabundance of one or more of the Four Colas. This practice involved an instrument known as a silly straw. If that name sounds odd, that's because it was named by the daughter of its inventor, Hans Feinwerd, who thought the straw looked silly. A medical professional would take the silly straw and forcefully jab it into one of the four cola regions of the body: brain, heart, liver, or kidneys, depending on where the abundance was and of which of the Four Colas. They would then suck the cola from the body, either allowing someone with a deficiency to partake, or they would let it run into the nearest lake or river. It was at this point in my research that I received a strange letter in the mail inviting me to an address across town to discuss the Four Colas theory in depth, as the author claimed to have had additional, as yet undisclosed information. The address brought me to an old warehouse near the docks. Nervously, I knocked at the heavy iron door and felt an almost immediate pang of regret somewhere deep inside. After receiving no answer, I turned to leave. But just then, the door heaved open like that of some ancient tomb. Dust and debris clouded my vision until before I knew it, I was standing in the middle of the room. The door slammed shut behind me. My only source of light came from the moonlight, forcing its way through dusty, cracked windows. Before me stood a shrouded visage of a man that looked to be 9 feet tall. I thought surely my vantage point was skewed. That is, until it stepped forward into a beam of moonlight and I recognized the face of my reticent host. It was none other than Dr. Herc Leichenthorpe himself, in the flesh. All my time spent researching the Four Colas theory had made me an expert on the man's face. And there he stood before me. Fear gripped me as the realization set in that the doctor was no ordinary man. As I learned in my research, as I've already told you, Dr. Herc Leichenthorpe was a werewolf. He smiled a horrific smile. All this time, the doctor had been in hiding, quietly killing off innocents in the darkness of night. When he discovered I had been researching the Four Colas theory, he chose me as his next victim. I watched in horror as the man transformed before my eyes into a disgusting, hairy beast. He lunged at me. I thought surely this would be my end. Then I remembered my pocket knife. Not just any pocket knife. Venom Steel's 1997 The Silver Bullet, made of 100% pure silver. The beast lunged at me again. I jumped to the side and quickly jabbed the bullet into his kidney. Yellow liquid sprayed as he let out a terrific yelp. I jabbed again, this time aiming for his liver. A clear, purulent cola dribbled out. He whined, and then I dug the silver bullet straight into his heart. Diet Cola spurted from his chest. I knew all I had left to do was puncture his brain. The final cola. But before I could act, Lycanthrope lurched back and away into the shadows. I followed his trail of cola out a back door and onto the docks, where it went cold. He must have leapt into the sea. I don't know what happened of him after that night. Something tells me he's still out there, waiting. And until I know, I'll spend every waking moment preparing to fight, to let the final cola. Thanks for watching my video, guys. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit like and subscribe. Stay tuned for my next video. I'm going to be talking about the abandoned, haunted Cranny World Resort and Casino.